Start recording. Good? Okay, today's October 4th, 2019. It's a B-Day. The question of the day is, what are the units of measurement for volume? So we're looking at packet page 15 in our white packet that looks like this. Everybody should have a highlighter out, so we're going to highlight the key information. When you're finding the volume of a regular object, we're going to use a ruler. We're going to be measuring the length, the width, and the height. So the volume of a regular object. Regular means I have sides that I can measure with a ruler. The volume of a regular shaped object can be calculated, so you need to calculate by using this equation. Volume is equal to length, width, and height. When calculating the volume this way, the unit for volume is centimeters cubed. And you must make sure you round your measurements to the nearest tenth. So this is an example, and then you will work with a group, a partner rather, and find the volume of the blocks in your bag. Calculate the volume of the regular prism to the right. You always write the equation first, length times width times height. The second step is to substitute the measurements. So instead of length, we're going to use this number, 2.5 centimeters. 2.5 centimeters, no naked numbers, make sure you have centimeters. Instead of width, we'll substitute for 2.5 centimeters. And then you're looking for the height. The height is 6.2 centimeters. The next step is to multiply the measurements. So you want to multiply the measurements, and your answer needs to be to the nearest tenth. So when you multiply 28 and 5/10, 2 and 5/10, 2 and 5/10, and 6 and 2/10, you get, and the calculator first, excuse me, 2.5 times 2.5 times 6.2 is equal to 38 and 75 hundredths. This is not rounded yet to the nearest tenth, so we want to make sure we round to the nearest tenth. This is the number that is going to be affected. This number can either stay a 7 or become an 8, depending upon the number behind it. So you look at the number after it and you say, okay, 5, that's a pretty big number. This is going to influence this and make it an 8. 38 and 8/10. This is rounded now to the nearest tenth. Don't put a 0 after it. And now we need to look for our units. Come back up here. Our units are centimeters cubed. Why are the units centimeters cubed? Because you're multiplying 1 centimeter times another centimeter times another centimeter. When you multiply them, you are going to add the exponents, centimeters cubed. It's three-dimensional. Length times width times height is giving you centimeters cubed. This is the example problem. Now let's look at how to physically measure the volume of a block in your hands. So now, on my table, I have a block. This is a three-dimensional block, and we have a ruler. The first step always is to make sure you know the formula. So on the board, I'm going to write the formula. Volume is equal to length, I'll abbreviate that, make an L. Width, it's abbreviated with a W. And height, abbreviate that with an H. I want to substitute next. I don't know the W, I rewrite that. I can figure out the length if I measure with the ruler. Let's measure the length with the ruler. The length of this block is 10 and 0/10 centimeters. You're measuring each side. So this first side is 10 and 0/10 centimeters, 10.0 centimeters. Oops, that 0 looks ugly. That's the length, check. How do I measure the width? I place this in front of me. Now I'm going to move the block so I don't have to move the ruler to measure the width. The width now of the block looks like, I'm going to line everything up, it's about 3.7 centimeters. So I'm going to write the width as 3 and 7/10 centimeters, 3.7. That's done. The last step is to measure the height. I don't want to move the block anymore, but I can move the ruler to measure the height. So when I measure the height now, I'm looking at this, and it's hard. I have to go eye level, and it's about 8.1, 8.2. It looks to me as 8.2 centimeters. I have these three numbers here. What do I want to do to these three numbers? I measured the height. I want to multiply them. So 10 times 3.7 times 8.2. 10 times 3.7 times 8.2 is equal to 303 4/10. I can stop here. There's no other number behind it. This is rounded to the 10th spot. I must place my unit. Centimeter times centimeter times centimeter is centimeters cubed. Thank you. Just to reiterate, I just want to go over how to measure each side. So to find the length, place your block in front of you, facing you. This will give you the length. To find your width, move your block 90 degrees, facing you this side. That's your width. To find the height, you just move your ruler up. Length times width times height. Thank you.